going to need as many people in that department, and that's going to play out over and over again.
We'll stop it right there. It said a lot.
Yep. We've been hearing about stuff like this for a while. I mean, we talked about this topic, not exact topic, but something similar like this a few shows back. So I just think, with each new boom in economy, AI is going to do some things more efficient, do some things, like basic customer service stuff, but you're going to always need, people to kind of manage it. You still need that, human, thought process in certain things. So I can kind of see how it can take some things, but a lot of stuff, no. I just don't see it, taking over a lot of the jobs. Now, the whole thing with the whole robotics, stuff, we don't know how far along we are with that, because we got a speed rail train that was supposed to be built here and still hasn't been built, So a lot of this, exactly, So a lot of this stuff is just kind of like, okay, yes, AI, but then at what level? I don't think it's going to be at the level that everybody thinks it is. What he's talking about, yeah, white collar jobs. Well, yeah, because there was a boom with tech and coding. Yeah, so some of that stuff would get taken up. Trucking, yeah, they've been trying to do, as you can see around the city, yeah, driverless cars, yeah. So some of that stuff may be taken up, but there's plenty of other things, that are not going to be able to be replaced. As you can see down even at the docks, some of those things are replaced by robots or robotics. So just looking at it from that standpoint, I agree on some of those jobs, but we have to understand, the bigger picture as to how it's going to affect. These are going to be tools, that you can put in place of certain things, but it's not going to be a total replace. They say within 100 years, yeah, we're supposed to have flying cars by now. We
Right.
still ain't had that, So we don't know how that's going to look in the future. Yeah, they can forecast it out for you, but for it to really truly be how everyone thinks it's going to be, I don't believe it will, replace any and everybody, in a lot of jobs. Some stuff we see here and there, okay, food service, which is like McDonald's. We see like the kiosks, those certain types of jobs, yes. Well, then there's a lot of jobs that's already in place that waste a lot of money, So I think a lot of this stuff is to figure out how to stop wasteful spending amongst the private sector. And then once it's picked up and, it's kind of given the green light, then they'll try to pick it up in the public sector, So there's a long ways away. When people start to talk about these things, they tend to try to desensitize the public and get them used to the idea, So that's why they talk about it in the way that they're talking about it. It's still like a good, 10, 20, 30 years, to where it, affects everyone like they think it's going to affect. I mean, in my opinion, I'm not a whatever they call it, an expert, but that's just, from looking at the landscape and online and being what they call a millennial, because I think we were like the first generations to start using computers in the schools. I remember back then where we was using DOS.
Right.
We would get on the computers making your first email address, Back then they were getting you ready for the internet or using email and all that stuff,
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So I don't know, man. There we go. I love movies, right? And I like to, sometimes I compare things a lot to movies.
Mhm.
And I know we talked about some of the movies in AI, like you spoke about it in the earlier show, in one of the earlier shows. And I see, back then, we was like, oh, that looks cool, or this is futuristic. And, you know, we thought that stuff was kind of closer than it has been.
Mhm.
Uh, but looking how, it did, kind of take a while to get to where we are. But when I look at things, just how AI is, how, advanced it is, how you can tell it to create a video, about whatever, right now, it's only 8 to 10 seconds. Some people I've heard are able to do, up to a minute. Uh, but when you tell it to do that and it looks so realistic, and then you have, you ask it to write you a script for whatever, you ask AI to, whichever one you're using, whether it be ChatGPT or Gemini or whichever one other ones out there, but you ask it to um, create a app for you, create a website for you, and it does all the code for you. One of those jobs, and he mentioned it, is that you tell your kids to go into tech. A lot of coaches, tell their kids to go into tech, and now some of those basic coding jobs, can be done. I could do that right now.
Mhm.
And what it's doing is it may not necessarily get rid of everybody, but what it's doing is making the job easier. Now instead of it being like it takes 20 people, to do something, it takes one or two people. Um, and I don't know how far off like all of those positions are, going to be impacted, but I'll just name a few. So Klarna is the pay weekly. I don't. It's one of those apps you pay on your item that you purchased up front.
Mhm.
So they replaced 700 full-time customer service agents
Mm.
um, using AI. IBM plans to replace around 7,800 back office jobs and with AI and automation. One of our favorite apps, Duolingo. Uh, they let go 10% of the contractor workforce, and is going to pivot to AI for content creation. So you see right there, and that's not. I've seen so many others. I just only added those three in here, but normally just for IBM, for instance, apparently whatever jobs and job it was, these people were doing, but 7,800 people, they feel it could be leveraged, by using artificial technology.
Mhm.
So, but I say, personally, you know, use it as this is the opportunity to use it as a tool. Whatever job you're in, whatever direction you want to go in, you can use it as a tool to get you there quicker or get you the information quicker. Like I don't know how long it would take me to write code to do a website that'll, it'll take me a while. You know what I mean? But it could write the code within seconds, really, but I'll just say minutes. And I think that, it's a good opportunity to leverage it. I actually had a conversation with my daughter, and I said you could use it. I said you use it, I'm sure, for these kids use it for their assignments. I know they do. It was this one guy, I forgot what college he was with, but he showed at the graduation on his computer which AI models he used to help write his papers. Uh, but I told her though, like use it to leverage, like what careers are going to be uh recession proof, or what jobs are going to be out there and available and allow you to have a livable wage in 10, 20 years? You know,
Right.
because I may not have to necessarily worry about it because I'm gonna be damn near retired, if not retired. But our kids is gonna be something that they have to deal with because they're gonna either just be getting into the workforce or in the workforce, and they may be potentially impacted, by it. And I
Yeah.
even see like work, like I guess I want to tell too much information, but I seeing people that are students that are in the technical field, I see some of them are having challenges finding jobs
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a dime a dozen now. And again, like a lot of these companies are going to leverage. What's the main thing that a company, well, I'll say one of the main things that a company goal is, the goal is to make money. And if they can make money and save money on the back end, then they're going to do that. Like I said, I don't know exactly how far we're away, but I
Mm-hmm.
think from the time when we were younger and we saw these things and we were like, oh, they're cool. I think it's a lot closer now because they're like things are like on it's like it's on steroids now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens, man. Like I said, I know I've been adopting it, but there's some careers out there. I mean, use it to find out what okay, with AI advancing, what jobs will be available or what jobs will be needed. There's so many jobs out there and so many opportunities. I mean, if you want to use, a search engine, you can, but I've done that too. Like find out what is going to be out there, and then you could actually, if you need to, shift, or if you need to adjust in your current position, then you could adjust in your current position. If you use it to better yourself in that position or whatever. So like he used an example. He said you'll have like 5 or 6 engineers, and then one will leverage AI, and the other 3 or 4, you be that one who leverages the tools that you have. I mean, that's really what it's always been about. Like whatever tools and whatever way you could better yourself in life, will hopefully put you in a better position. So that's my spiel. We're gonna go ahead and